I still remember the moment my phone buzzed with Mom's annual apology. "I'm so sorry, Bella," she'd say, voice tight. "There just isn't room at the Lakeview Cottage this year. Sophia's crew has grown again, and I have to make sure the grandkids are comfortable. Maybe next summer?" And then I'd watch the photos on social media. My sister sprawled in her wicker chair, her 4 children splashing in the water, the cottage deck piled high with their beach toys and snacks. Every year for a decade, the same story. My name is Isabella Reed. I'm 40, a single mother of 2, and I run a boutique interior design studio out of our modest suburban home. My children, Ethan 10 and Nora 8, would ask, "Why can't we go to Grandma's lake house?" And I'd swallow hard, plaster on a smile, and say, "It's just full this year, honey. We'll plan something special of our own." Meanwhile, Sophia, my older sister by 3 years, married her college sweetheart Greg, and together they produced 4 children in 5 years. Lucas, 14, Maya, 12, Chloe, 9, and Oliver, 7. Mom adored them. Every summer, she'd transform Lakeview Cottage into a mini resort for them, filling it with their favorite cereals, buying new paddleboards and floaties, even replacing all the old mismatched towels with monogrammed ones for each niece and nephew. Her red carpet treatment left very little space or love for Ethan, Nora, and me. Year after year, I absorbed it quietly, at home with my 2 kids watching the neighborhood pool patterns repeat, while my sister's brood reveled in lakeside bliss. The breaking point. Last spring, I finally landed a career-defining contract. A luxury hotel chain in New York asked me to reimagine their flagship property's guest suites and public spaces. The deal was 7 figures, enough to transform my freelance studio into a bona fide design agency. I could barely contain my excitement, and I knew Mom would be proud for once, until at her own birthday brunch in late May, I brought it up. "That's wonderful, Bella," she said, tucking a strand of gray hair behind her ear. "But are you sure you're ready? Interior design sounds fun, but maybe consider something more stable." Sophia laughed and clapped her hand on my shoulder. "Oh, come on, Mom. Bella's just tinkering around on Pinterest all day. Let's celebrate Grandma's special day, not get bogged down in work talk." My chest tightened, but I nodded. Still, that night, as Sophia launched into her annual "I'm so sorry" speech, I vowed, next year I'd have something to show for all my hard work. Building my own retreat, I kept my plans secret. I incorporated Reed & Co. design, hired a junior designer, and rebranded my website. By August, we delivered the hotel project and began lining up new clients, including a tech startup and a vineyard in Sonoma. The cash flow was strong, steady enough that, in October, I started scouting properties. Then I found it, a rundown bed and breakfast on Clearwater Lake, 2 hours from Mom's cottage. 12 rooms, a worn-out dock, and underused banquet halls, all drowning in neglect. The owners, desperate, were asking a fraction of its true value. I signed the papers in January, closed in March, and quietly retained a management team to handle day-to-day operations while I planned renovations. By late May, I'd invested $250,000 into new furnishings, rebuilt the old dock, installed 2 infinity pools overlooking the water, and redesigned every guest room into chic, minimalist retreats. I named it Whispering Pines Lakeside Lodge. In June, we soft-opened with only a handful of paying guests to iron out kinks, and the reviews were glowing. Bookings filled up for the entire summer. In mid-June, when Mom's chorus began, "Bella, sweetheart, I'm so sorry," I simply smiled and said, "No problem, we've made other plans." I hung up and turned off my phone. At that moment, I felt lighter than I had in years. The grand reveal. On July 4th, Ethan and Nora and I arrived at Whispering Pines in a borrowed SUV. The children's eyes went wide as they ran across the manicured lawn, raced down the newly rebuilt dock, and jumped into the clear lake. We stayed in the largest suite, 2 bedrooms, a living room with lake views, and a private balcony. That evening, I treated them to dinner in our new boathouse-turned-restaurant, where the chef served 4 courses of locally sourced fish, grilled vegetables, and lemon ricotta tartlets. Ethan and Nora thought I'd won the lottery. For me, it was the payoff of 8 years of elbow grease and sacrifice. Meanwhile, Sophia was posting her usual summer vacation teasers, children selecting beach towels, Greg packing the SUV, the familiar Lakeview Cottage sign. But none of her followers knew about Whispering Pines yet. Rallying the real family. In August, I began reaching out to the relatives who'd always supported me. Uncle Jonathan and Aunt Claire, Mom's only brother and his wife, my cousin Marcus, who had no children but was my biggest cheerleader, and the Martinez cousins, who'd been through tough times financially when I was growing up. To every one of them I said, I'd love to host you Labor Day weekend. Food, rooms, activities all on me. I want to thank you for always having my back. To my surprise and delight, they all accepted. By Labor Day, Whispering Pines was humming. A private dinner under the pines, paddleboard races on the lake, a bonfire with s'mores, and even a vintage-style Ferris wheel I'd rented. There were 24 of us, laughing, playing, reminiscing. For the first time, I saw tears in Aunt Claire's eyes as she hugged me and whispered, "You deserve this, Bella." Word spread quickly through family WhatsApp groups. Early Monday morning, Mom called, breathless. "Bella, what is this nonsense I heard? A resort, you say? On Clearwater Lake? That can't be true." Calmly, I replied, "It is, and there isn't enough room here either." I heard her gasp. "But how? Why didn't you tell us?" I let silence settle. Finally, "You told me for years there wasn't room at your cottage. Now I'm telling you there isn't room at mine." Backlash and triumph, Sophia's call came next. "What the hell is wrong with you?" she demanded. "Mom is hysterical. You left us stranded." I couldn't help smiling. "I just did what you all did to me for a decade. Made my own space." She sputtered, insulted, angry, and then strangely defeated. "This is petty," she wailed. "You're better than this." "No," I said softly. "I'm exactly this." And I hung up. Over the next weeks, business boomed at the lodge. I expanded staff, launched a marketing campaign that placed us in travel magazines, and even hosted a corporate retreat. Reed & Co. Design balanced the books so well that I began eyeing a second property, a mountain chalet in the Blue Ridge foothills. Thanksgiving at Whispering Pines. When Thanksgiving rolled around, Mom called as usual with a hopeful tone. "Bella, I've been thinking, why don't we celebrate at your place this year? You know, make up for lost time." I laughed to myself. "Thanks for the offer, but we're fully booked with paying guests." Her voice caught. "Surely you could hold out one cabin?" I replied gently, "I never planned on accommodating everyone I excluded, but the lodge is open to paying customers, no family discount." She was silent, stammered something about fairness, then hung up. My heart didn't ache for her. Instead, I invited my chosen family, Aunt Claire, Uncle Jonathan, the Martinez cousins, for a small feast. We ate turkey on the deck, watched the sunset, and for the first time, I felt truly at home in a family that cherished me. Winter rolls in, and the second estate. By December, Whispering Pines was booked through spring. In January, I closed on Hawthorne Mountain Chalet, a 20-room lodge nestled in snowy slopes, complete with a spa and ice skating pond. I invited the same supportive relatives for a winter soft open in February. The chalet dazzled. Roaring fireplaces, wool-plaid throws, hot chocolate bars, guided snowshoe hikes. Again, Mom and Sophia were nowhere in sight. The family wedding. In June, my niece Rachel, Marcus's daughter, announced her engagement and asked me to attend her October vineyard wedding. David, Marcus's brother, personally called. "Bella, we all want you there." I agreed, on one condition. I'd bring a small security team to prevent any drama. Marcus laughed. "Best idea ever." At the wedding, I arrived with Ethan and Nora, dazzling in their little tux and lace dress. Mom spotted us across the vineyard and approached hesitantly. I greeted her politely. "You look well," she said. I nodded. "Thanks. How are you?" She opened her mouth to apologize, then closed it. Next, Sophia sidled up, clutching a glass of wine. "Can we talk?" she slurred. I shook my head. "No thanks. Not here." She sputtered about grudges, family unity, water thicker than blood, then stomped off. I watched her go, feeling free. Sisterly truths. Later that evening, Sophia cornered me near the bar. "Fine," she said, voice raw. "I was jealous. You're brave, you're creative, you have freedom I don't." I listened as she admitted that Mom's exclusion wasn't to protect me, but to favor Sophia's larger brood. She apologized for every sly remark she'd ever made about my work. I accepted, cautiously, but made it clear I won't go back to being the quiet one who shrinks. She nodded, tears glinting in her eyes. "I get it." Full circle now, 3 years out from my first purchase. Reed & Co. Design employs 20 people nationwide. Whispering Pines is fully booked through next summer. Hawthorne Mountain Chalet has a 2-year waiting list. Ethan, now 13, has started his own tiny landscape painting side business. Nora dreams of becoming a chef at one of our lodge's restaurants. They've never again felt like the second family. Mom and I have spoken, tentative, short calls in which she tells me she's trying to understand how her actions hurt me. I listen but don't apologize for my choices. I'm done shrinking. Sophia visits once a year as a guest. No more entitlement, no more there just wasn't room. Instead, she pays like everyone else, and I watch our children play together on the dock. The tension is gone, replaced by respect. The lesson. Sometimes the sweetest revenge isn't anger or grudges. It's building your own empire so grand that people can't ignore you any longer. When someone tells you there isn't enough room, don't beg for space. Go create your own room, then build another and another. Before long, you'll have a table that seats hundreds, and a family of your choosing who shows up not because they have to, but because they want to. That's the story I'll tell my kids when they ask why we never revisit Lakeview Cottage. And that's the story I hope inspires anyone who's ever been told, you don't matter enough. Because when you stop asking for scraps and start serving your own feast, you'll discover there's always enough room for success, for love, and for true family.